I think we're going to get started. If people join us, they'll join us en route, and that's all good. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this few minutes to talk to you about Ocean School. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that the traditional guardians of the lands and waters where Ocean School is produced today, our team lives and works in the ancestral and original homelands of many nations. The National Film Board, which is one of the partners of Ocean School, our headquarters is located in the original unceded ancestral homelands of the Haudenosaunee and the Kanien'kehá:ka peoples. And OFI, the Ocean Frontier Institute at Dalhousie, is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and original homelands of the Mi'kmaq. At Ocean School, we're committed to working with Indigenous communities and creators with an awareness of past injustices. Film and education and science have all played a role in colonialism and the harm done to Indigenous peoples and communities. And we're striving to do better. Simply, reconciliation is not an easy process, but we do believe that education, science, and film can play a positive role in transforming relationships and creating space for more voices and perspectives. So, what is Ocean School? Well, Ocean School is a global ocean literacy and education tool. It's a free online experience, an educational experience. We say global because that is our ambition. On Ocean School, you will find content from various parts of the world, from Indonesia, from Costa Rica, from the left coast, from the right coast in Canada, soon from the coast up at the top of Canada. And so our ambition is to tell the ocean story. You'll notice that you'll never see oceans in Ocean School. We believe there's this one ocean and it connects us all. Ocean literacy for us, can mean many things, but at the heart of it, it's understanding the ocean's influence on you and your influence on the ocean. I think when we can do that, when we know the ocean, it can affect our behavior towards the ocean, the decisions we make in relation to the ocean. Now, how inappropriate to call this planet Earth when clearly it is ocean. This is a quote from Arthur C. Clarke that resonates really deeply with the team at Ocean School. It's one big ocean that connects us, that shapes our Earth, that controls our climate. It's one big ocean that it remains largely unexplored and unexplained. And so we're trying to contribute to this explanation and to get people to understand it better. Now, I know that I might be in many ways here sort of preaching to the choir, but I do believe that we have to ask ourselves the question, why have 12 people been to the moon, but only 3 people have been to Marianas Trench? And one of those people was a multimillionaire that paid his own way. But some would say that this discrepancy, it comes down to storytelling. Going to space has always been wrapped up in great stories. Think of all those space movies. Well, at Ocean School, we're working to tell the ocean stories and to spark critical thought and capture the imagination of the next generation of ocean citizens. I'd like to give you, just to start, a little sample of some of the stories we tell and let you meet some of the fascinating people we've had the pleasure of working with.
The smallest thing that you wouldn't really expect to be a big part of the ocean is actually what keeps it all going. Right there!
The ocean is changing very rapidly due to climate change and other factors, and we need to adjust for this in our behavior. Everything we do on land ultimately is going to end up in the water. 2, 3, go. If you give life a chance, it will recover amazingly. This is what we got to work with. This is our luck. We have to be careful. Whether animals, humans, we all have a role in the balance of an ecosystem like this. It's rooted in our DNA. It runs through our blood. It's who we are.
Now, why do we think this is necessary? Well, the Ocean School story took some of its start in a research study that was done in Nova Scotia by a researcher named Sherry Scully. She asked kids in middle school and in high school what jobs they thought could be connected to the ocean. And much to her surprise, beyond fishermen and marine biologists, they didn't really have a great understanding of how they could live and work connected to the ocean. And that was one of the really, the impetus for really thinking about Ocean School. Now, Ocean School is the result, as I was mentioning, of a unique partnership between the National Film Board of Canada, Canada's kind of creative laboratory, and the Ocean Frontier Institute, which is at Dalhousie University. And our secret sauce is this mix of storytelling, education, and science. NFB bringing those 80 years of storytelling and that expertise in reaching students in the classroom, and then the Ocean Frontier Institute bringing this rigorous cutting-edge science, and us wrapping all that in a variety of media. Now, we had a public launch of Ocean School in 2016. We had a prototype that we tested, and we learned a lot doing it. And what we came up with really was trying to find a way to teach through an ocean lens. We used linear video, 360 video, interactive experiences, augmented and virtual reality, and I'll show you some of that as we move forward, to try and encourage educators, students, lifelong explorers to experience the world through an ocean lens. So we offer tools to teach curriculum concepts, but with dynamic multimedia approach. So instead of, we tell educators, instead of teaching the food web with the grass and the cow and the sun like you've done for hundreds of years, how about using plankton, phytoplankton, and the right whale to investigate that subject and experience it through the eyes of a youth host as they go on a plankton crawl, they go on an expedition with scientists, or even examine phytoplankton in the lab. Now, we've been creating content since 2016. Like I mentioned, we've been to Costa Rica, to Indonesia, to the Pacific coast and the Atlantic coast. We're presently shooting in the Arctic, and we're building all sorts of things you see on this screen, so some of our footage, but also some of our interactive experiences. And I'll go a little deeper into those as we move forward. Now, we work with scientists and subject matter experts, and I tease the Ocean School team that we work with real scientists doing real science, and this has its challenges. Once the shark is on the boat, there's no take two in Ocean School. You can't say put the shark back in because we need to adjust the lighting. So we have a team that is capturing real science as it's being done. We work with Indigenous content creators. The Indigenous content that's in Ocean School right now was created with Indigenous artists, elders, producers, and educators in Ontario, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and British Columbia. And we're working more and more to try to find a way to bring Indigenous knowledge deeper into Ocean School. And we love to showcase technology and innovation. But among the pictures you see here is the Ropos. The Ropos is, we went and shot with the team from the Ropos. They went to the seafloor of the St. Lawrence in Bancs des Américains and essentially showed us things that no human had seen before. We support place-based education. By place-based, we mean we think and we believe that local stories can have impact nationally and internationally. And so when we go somewhere, we like the story to be as local as it can be, and we pay extra. We put a lot of effort in making sure the content we create in a place is pertinent and relevant to the educators in that place. We had an experience over the last couple of years where we went and worked in co-creation with the Heiltsuk Nation in Bella Bella, British Columbia. We worked with them, and when it came time to create the educational activities that accompany our content, we worked with educators there, making sure that it was relevant to their needs, but also to needs of the rest of Canada and the world. We do all sorts of things, but one thing that is unique, I think, to Ocean School is for every piece of media, whether that media is a video, a 360 video, an interactive, there's always an activity for the classroom that's been designed by our education team, specifically to deepen the learning that was contained inside the media itself. We launched publicly Ocean School, the real Ocean School platform in 2018. Just to give you a few sort of statistics, we're closing in on 500,000 learning sessions on Ocean School since 2018. We've got a pretty good social media reach that is growing by the day. And we have over 100 resources in English and French and Spanish. Not everything is in Spanish, but the content that we shot in Costa Rica, for us, it was important that it also be available in Spanish because we partnered with educators there to create that content. Now, I've talked a lot about Ocean School. Now it's time for me to show you Ocean School. You'll see Ocean School 2.0. This is more internal for us, Ocean School 2.0, but we've spent almost the last year collecting feedback from educators, across the country and around the world about our initial offer and trying to transform it and make it into an even better, more accessible product. So among the things we've done, we've removed any login or classes, so you can access Ocean School for free very, very easily using only links. We've made it accessible, which is something we've been wanting to do since the beginning. So you can consume Ocean School if you're learning or hearing impaired or visually impaired, closed captioning, described video, all of those things. We've made it customizable because we know teachers know their classroom and know their students and know how to fine-tune things for that experience. So we've tried to give them as much flexibility as possible. We've made it searchable. So on Ocean School, as I'll show you, you can type in a subject matter or an outcome or a concept that you want to teach and see if we have, see what we have that deals with that subject. We've made it super easy to share if you're using Teams or Google Classroom, or if you want to share with other educators through social media. And we've made it mobile friendly. One thing that the pandemic has revealed to us over the course of the last year was that for many students, far too many students, their reliable access to the internet when they're at home is through their parents' cell phone. And so we've made sure that 98% of Ocean School is available and working and is mobile friendly. So let me show you a little more what Ocean School is. So what I'm showing you here is the Ocean School homepage, brand new, that we just turned on about 4 weeks ago. I'm just going to slowly scroll through it, but point out a few things. Really what we want you to know is content. Our content is shaped either in what internally we call learning objects. Really, they're learning resources, individual resources, or collections that we've curated to try and help teachers assemble either a lesson plan or a course. So if you see here, we've assembled our interactive experiences, our 360 videos, but also collection that we did with the Heiltsuk Nation around all the ways of knowing. So once you get to Ocean School, you click and you're able to explore as an educator, and we try to give you as much information as we can about the content. Of course, a description to give you a sense of what exactly you will find in this collection. We try to give you a sense of which grades this is appropriate for, what subjects it might be applicable for, and some of the key concepts that are treated in this content. So if you're looking to teach sustainability or Indigenous knowledge, right away you have access. So what you see here is the media that is contained inside this particular collection. This is a pretty big collection. It contains some interactives and some take actions. And it contains something new in Ocean School, which is what we call our interactive trailer. So I'm going to give you a sense of what that looks like. Now, what I'm showing you here is the educator experience to Ocean School. So this is where you come as an educator to learn, okay, these are the resources, which ones do I like, which ones do I want? And once you decide that you want to share something with your class, it's as simple as a one-click thing. You assign it to your class. If you're using Google Classroom or Teams, you can share directly to those platforms. Or if you're using a different LMS, you can simply copy this link and have that experience. Now, if you're a student, all you're receiving, you're not coming to this page, you're receiving a simple link to explore the content. So I'll give you an example of this, all the ways of knowing. We're going to click in here and get more detail about it. And if I want to see this experience as a student, let my internet work here. This is what a student would experience. So what we've built is this contextual piece to try to give the student a sense of what he would discover in this entire collection. So by coming here, first a short trailer to give him or her a sense of what they're going to discover. There's always a guiding question in Ocean School that we explore through the content. We like to show them where it is that we're going to be going and give that sense of place. And essentially we're teasing them here, like if you experience this collection, you will learn and have the opportunity to visit a variety of media. This is one of our interactive timelines. I mentioned a guiding question. There's always a guiding question in each of our collections. In this case, the guiding question is, why should we consider multiple perspectives in our inquiry? And we try to unpack that a little bit with them. So if they click, they can learn a bit more about some of these concepts, just to really get them ready for the experience. People, of course, we want them to know more about the people that they're going to meet, the subject matter experts, the local participants. Most of Ocean School's content is led by a youth host, who's usually a little bit older than our target audience, our target audience is usually from 11 to, well, grade 5 to grade 12, depending on the activities. So they can meet the people, learn more about them. In this case, this was our youth host, Jordan Wilson. Always a quote, just to give them a sense of who they're going to meet. We like to give them a sense of place. So we tell them a little bit, we give them a little bit of context, but of course they can go to Google Maps and learn a lot more. And we also make sure that we thank the people who help us make this content. Once they've experienced this, every piece of content, as I mentioned, has an activity that is attached to it. In this case, the activity is a learning journal. So as soon as the student goes to the activity, it opens in a new tab. All of the activities are built in Google Slides. They are customizable for the educator if you want to. And in this case, it's a learning log. So we want them to capture what they learn as they experience the collection. And so the learning log has been built for them to edit and to capture and collect as they go about their experience within Ocean School. Now, if I cycle back here, we've tried to make this as easy as possible for you to be able to explore our resources. So there's a search bar here that allows you, if we say, I don't know, geography, right away, everything that is connected to geography is revealed to the educator, with lots of ways to filter down. If you've got a classroom and you've got 45 minutes, you can right away filter down to the things that will fit into your lesson plan, or if you want to filter it by a subject or resource type. You really have lots of opportunities to fine-tune your search and find the content that you're looking for. And like I mentioned, there's already about 100 pieces of 100 learning resources on Ocean School that are available. Now, I'd like to show you a little bit more about some of the things that we do. I will mention that we have a pretty extensive help center that's built right into Ocean School. So if you run into any issues inside of Ocean School, we have lots of information available to you, how to use it, we have an Ocean School app that works with this. If you've never experienced 360 videos, we've got content helping you understand if you're watching it on a computer or a tablet or a Google Cardboard. all of these things, we've tried to make it as foolproof as possible because we know not everybody has the same comfort level with technology. When we talked about interactives, I want to show you one interactive here that is called Baywatch. Baywatch, this is an experience where a two-player experience that can be experienced with a VR headset. Because we're working virtually here, I'll give you a quick run through of how it works here. So it's built to be a two-player experience. One player is controlling this ecosystem. This particular interactive comes after a piece of video called All Around Life in the Balance, where kids have learned about aquaculture, they've learned about agriculture and how one thing affects the other. And this is their opportunity to put their learning into practice. So here, one student is able to essentially control the ecosystem. So he can control the nutrient range, essentially how much agriculture is going to happen. You'll notice if I start raising this, you'll notice that the plots get bigger, cows start appearing, we got a much more active farm. And of course, I can control the quantity of aquaculture. So the amount of oyster platforms that are happening here. If they have the technology, another student can be in virtual reality with a headset and be experiencing the changes in real time. So this is the same ecosystem being rendered in real time. And of course, if I go back here and I decide, well, I want full nutrients, but I don't want any oyster platforms. What does that look like? Oh, it's a lot murkier and doesn't seem like there's as many creatures here. The idea being that they are collecting data. Every time that they've made some changes, they can find out, okay, this is the nutrient range, this is the quantity of oxygen, and here are the species that would exist if this was what I decided would be the balance in my ecosystem. If I do the opposite here and I'm a reasonable amount of each thing, well, all of a sudden my waters are a lot bluer and there are more species around here. So if I collect more data, here all of a sudden I can see I have many more species available to me. The idea with this particular interactive is you collect a certain amount of data. Once you've collected that data, here, I'll just collect a little bit more data quickly here, just so that we have a collection. And one more set here. And one last one. I'm done collecting. Once I'm done collecting, well, I have an activity. And that activity has taken that data and essentially put it into a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet. And they're able to use that data and figure out how they might achieve balance in an ecosystem like this. So it fosters collaboration, graphing skills, inquiry skills. They have to communicate with each other all the time that they're doing this experience. I want to show you one more of our interactives. For those of you who might be used to teaching biology and are doing dissection, this is a really clean and non-messy way to do some dissection. This is our 3D cod here. We call him Fred. And again, this experience, they've seen a video that explains how fishing is done sustainably in Fogo Island, and how when you fish is an important part of knowing how to fish sustainably. So their activity here is they're presented with two specimens. They need to identify which specimen is the right one to be fished. And so they're invited to measure this fish and then capture the data. I'm just going to put any kind of data here just because I want to go quickly. To weigh this fish, because how much it weighs is important. And of course, to look inside this fish. And so to do a virtual dissection here and look at what is going on inside this cod. Now, when you do both specimens, you, as a student, you quickly realize that one of them is a female and is about to give birth to lay some eggs. And so that's not the time you want to be fishing. That's the time you want to be letting her continue to grow the population. Of course, it's the same principle as Baywatch in the sense that you collect data. When you're done collecting the data, the activity brings in that data and allows you to do some work based on it. I'm just going to switch back here to my presentation. So, of course, we're not able to do Ocean School without a variety of partners, and that list continues to grow. I do want to share that all of these organizations have played a role in helping us build Ocean School and make it available for free. One of the new pieces of content that we're about to launch in September and that I wanted to share with you is a piece that we call the Love Letter to the Ocean, because a big part of what Ocean School is trying to do is to get kids to understand the role of the ocean in our ecosystems. We know there's a lot of eco-anxiety out there, and so we're careful to bring these issues to light, but at the same time to give them tools and information and knowledge to empower them to act upon those things. So I'll just share with you this. It's a 3-minute piece, but I think it sums up kind of our ambitions here and trying to understand sort of our role as humans in this world. It's and the way climate is changing.
The ocean breathes in and out, like the rhythm of the tides, connecting everything from the outer skies to the deepest seas. And at its heart is carbon. Carbon, the building block of life. It fuels nature's solar-powered machinery. From the redwoods to the savanna, to the eelgrass meadows and kelp forests in the sea, and phytoplankton that together, in such abundance, often paint the ocean green. The captured carbon then passes on through all living things, through krill and fish, birds and whales, butterflies and flowers, and you. Most living things hold on to carbon only briefly. Every time we exhale, we let carbon go. When life ends, carbon floats up into the sky or settles down buried in the soil. But in the ocean, things are different. It inhales more than it exhales and sends carbon into the abyss for hundreds and thousands of years. It is the ocean, more than anything else on Earth, that holds the balance. But we humans are releasing ever more carbon, extracting, drilling, and burning ancient carbon stores. And the carbon gathering around the planet has taken on a new identity. No longer just building and powering life, but now disrupting and threatening it too. As we reach for more, taking without thought, discarding without care, the ocean struggles to maintain the balance, to absorb all that carbon. How much is too much? How far is too far? The ocean breathes like the rhythm of the tides, connecting everything. All life depends on this. All life depends on the ocean.
We feel that's a really interesting place to bring kids and to start a discussion, obviously, about how the world is changing, how the climate crisis is upon us, and also trying to give them some context into what they can do. And in that context, one of the key pieces as well in Ocean School is that every one of our collections has a take action attached to it. So students do get at the end of it some tools, and these are tools we continue to grow, tools to build, to know, to be empowered and to take action. I'll just show you here some of the things that are in here. This is Nesha, who was our youth host in Indonesia. So again, same principle, a small video inviting them to take action, a spotlight on Nesha and the work that she's been doing, and connecting her to her Instagram if they want to become really able to do things, a suggestion of how to take action, in this case, reconnecting with nature, sharing their observations with a tool called iNaturalist, taking part in the BioBlitz, and we provide them with a toolkit to take action. Oh, you know what? I unfortunately picked one that wasn't linked, but there is a toolkit that explains to them or gives them a variety of ways that they can take action locally, how they can reach out to their member of parliament, how they can be involved politically, without telling them what to do, but giving them and empowering them, giving them tools to begin that conversation. So what is next for Ocean School? I mean, we're very much about growing our user base. This is a free experience. We want more people to use it. We continue to build global partnerships, and we are constantly looking out for partners with whom we can create content. One of the unique things about the new Ocean School is our ability to host other partners' content as well. We want to scale our impact and catalyze change. At the end of the day, the unassumed sort of or unsaid goal of Ocean School is behavior change, is getting students to understand the way they can impact the ocean. We're happy to say that we've just been selected over the last few months as a United Nations Decade of Ocean Science official action. We think that will help us sort of grow our user base. Because at the end of the day, we know that we protect what we love. And so if we can, you can't love something till you know it. So we think by bringing this information, empowering students to understand the ocean, that will affect how the choices they make and the behavior that they take towards it. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. I'd love to open the forum for comments, questions, and open it up for discussion, because I find in these conferences sometimes there's a lot of me talking to you, but I want to hear your thoughts on this and how you might think you might use it in your classroom. So feel free to either contribute on the chat or the video I just played, Jennifer. That is a good question. It's going to be out on our platform in the middle of September, where you got a sneak peek today. And it'll be accompanied with an activity that sort of brings that discussion forward. Oh, Melissa, I'm happy to hear that. Please share it with other teachers. We work very hard. We have a hardworking team, and all we want is for people to be using this and finding ways to bring it into to the classroom. And of course, if you do end up using it, please give us feedback. Share with us what your experience has been, both for us to continue to improve Ocean School, but also we just love to hear. That's very motivating for us to know that it's being used and being appreciated. Thank you, Jen. If anyone is curious here, I can. I'm going to unshare my screen so that. And if anybody has questions or comments, so you can either open up your video and your audio and ask the question, or feel free to use the chat. I'm not used to shy educators. Is there resources? That's a good question, Susan. You know what? We certainly know it's been used in younger grades, and I wouldn't say K. K is maybe challenging, but certainly grade 3. There are some activities that are more sort of art-based. The content itself, the videos and those things, they're kind of general audience, and I think they can work kind of with any sort of audience. Where we were a little more specific on the grade level is more in the activities that are designed to accompany. So if you go looking for some of the activities that are a little simpler, and of course you can also use the content by itself and choose not to share the activity. If you do that, you can build your own activity to accompany these resources. And I mentioned, we curate collections, but you have complete control in the sense that you can share an individual learning resource or a collection with your students. All that through just one link. As soon as you decide you want to share something, it creates a unique link that you can share with them, and then they have that experience. So they don't need to go to the website or find anything. They get one link, they click on it on their Chromebook, and they're off to the races. Catherine, you don't need to wait for World Oceans Day to talk about the ocean. You can talk about the ocean all year. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? That's your plan. I love it. Please let us know how it goes. Thank you, Jennifer. We're very proud of it. I mean, we have content, just to give you, I didn't talk too much in detail, but, in the North Atlantic, we talk about habitats, we talk about ecosystems, we talk about protecting populations. In Costa Rica, we talk a lot about migration. We follow some shark researchers, kids love the sharks, and they tag some researchers, so we learn more about that. In Indonesia, we go looking for a new species, and we actually find one. Jen, that's a good question. As far as we haven't had the resources to really investigate if we're having an impact in behavior change. We are in the process of partnering with some education researchers at Université du Québec à Rimouski to try and get that to get a baseline and start getting that information, because we want to know if we are having that impact. I mean, we have anecdotal sort of evidence that some schools in some classrooms have used Ocean School, and we hear from teachers that they request it again, and it does seem to change the conversation in the classroom. We don't, Andrew, we don't have a connection, but we'd love to have one. Both the Orca Lab and the Deep Bay Marine Field Station, I'm aware of both of those. Our work on the Pacific Coast so far has been mostly around with the Heiltsuk Nation. We have some content coming out at the end of October that is all about plastics, and some of that was shot on the West Coast in partnership with some of the researchers at OceanWise. The Southern Ocean, Stacy, it's in the works. We're working on that. I didn't mention, and I should mention, that Ocean School, OFI, Dalhousie and OFI and National Film Board both invested in Ocean School to give it birth, but really Ocean School continues to thrive through partnership. And so, a big part of my job is finding partners who are willing to help us both collaborate with us, but also help us financially to keep making content. And so the Southern Ocean is on our target list. We just haven't found quite the partner yet to allow us to go and do some work there. We're also looking in the next few, I'd say in the next year, to talk a lot more about what we kind of call the inland ocean or the Great Lakes, and the way the seaway connects all of that, because we know a lot of kids, there's a lot of population there around the Great Lakes, and we want them to understand that they are connected to the ocean, even if they don't live next to it. And so we're presently building some content with the River Institute in Cornwall to try and explain those connections, and with the Chamber of Marine Commerce and the St. Lawrence Seaway to explain the lock system and try to contextualize where, if you have a cell phone and you're 13 years old, that cell phone probably came in through the seaway on a ship, and to understand how that relationship continues to be important. Andrew, I'm not familiar with NIMSA, but I will be Googling as soon as we're done here. Appreciate you sharing this information. Thank you. I was trying to guess what the acronym might mean, but I'm not sure I would have got there. Andrew, you're on the Pacific Coast, I'm assuming, from this. I think that maybe we've exhausted our time together. I really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope you will become Ocean School advocates and ambassadors, and share this with your colleagues. It is, like I mentioned, a free resource, and we're looking forward to seeing how people use it, particularly this sort of new version of Ocean School that we've tried to make as easy and as efficient as possible for educators. So we're hoping that they grasp onto it and share it with their students. Again, thank you very much for your time. Feel free to reach out through our website if you need any more information. We'd be happy to provide.